gonna take my glasses.
It's gonna be like, hey, dude, it's Eden and Sam, my special guest for today, because I'm interviewing him about stereotypes and labels.
Yeah.
What's your definition of a stereotype?
A stereotype is a generalized statement about a group of people.
Do you think stereotypes and labels are, like, helpful?
Sometimes, but not always. I guess it depends on the stereotype/label.
What are some examples of, like, helpful labels or stereotypes?
A good label could be like, I'm gay. But, like, a good stereotype, maybe there's not good stereotypes. I change my answer now.
Okay.
But labels can be a good thing.
Yeah. How have labels been, like, helpful to you? What's the cons? Pros?
Pros? Well, like me and most of my friends, because we're all gay, will, like, come out and be like, I'm gay, so I live with it. But bad things can be like, you're gay, you know? You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being made fun of?
Mm-hmm.
Bullied?
Yeah.
What about stereotypes? Pros and cons?
Stereotypes can be damaging because if you are, I'm just using gay as an example because when you're gay, the stereotype is that you're, like, all flamboyant and whatnot, but I'm not, and so people are like, excuse me, you're not gay. I'm like, bet.
Bait
on it. Put 5 on it.
Do they lose?
They do, every time.
How have stereotypes and labels affected you?
Well, I'd say that stereotypes can kind of help you, like, form your group, like your friends, you know.
Stereotypes can or labels can?
Labels, they're not the same thing. Learn it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, how have labels helped you form your friend group?
Well, like, I feel like, at least at Stone Creek, all the gays
Nowhere I go now.
kind of stick together. And, like, that's not just with gays. That's with, like, the band kids. They're all their own thing. And, like, the emo kids are all their own thing. And my dog's trying to leave my room.
Yeah. I see that too. Yeah, it just, like,
Sorry.
once you have a label, it's easier to make friends because, like, similar labels
Yeah.
and who you identify as.
You, like, fit in with them.
Sit back up.
I'm back. What was the question?
Oh, look, it's Sam. So how have stereotypes and labels affected you?
Well, when I was a wee Sam, I was a girl. So, like, you kind of are brought up a certain way, you know, wear dresses and pink, and then I came out and everyone was like, what? Like, you literally acted like a cis girl your whole life, so what's up? And kind of since I played into that stereotype of, like, a typical, like, female, you know, a typical female, then it was kind of more shocking than if I was, like,
A tomboy.
my whole life. So, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have that stereotype, like, played into, but it can cause confusion if you, like, kind of switch up, you know?
Yeah.
Feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. Because, like, that confused, like, my parents a lot, too. So, like, if they go, like, when did this start? Like, when did this happen? And I'm like, well, it didn't really start. It kind of just has always been like that. I've just been always, like...
suppressing it?
Yeah, and been being girly, you would say. Not really girly, just feminine. So then they're like, well, no, just 3 years ago you were wearing dresses and doing all this other stuff.
Exactly.
And, like, you were fine with it. And I'm like, well, it kind of seemed like I was fine with it.
Maybe.
And I maybe was telling myself I was fine with it. Because, like, there was no other knowledge that there was something else out there that would be more comfortable.
Yeah.
But once you get the knowledge, you know, the more you know.
Right. Yeah, it's the same type of situation with me. And I think it really made it harder to come out, especially, like, not just to family, to, like, the school and everything. Because everyone was like, what the fuck?
Did labels help you with your, like, figuring out who you identify as? And
I feel like, honestly, labels made it more difficult because it can be hard because there's a lot of different labels to, like, not choose from, but, like, figure it out.
Yeah.
So, like, I kind of just do my own thing, you know? Like, I'm one of those people who's like, I don't like to use labels, but basically I'm that person, you know? Because it makes it more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that labels are, like, depending on the person, they can be really helpful. Like, with me, they were really helpful. But to someone else, they could be really restricting because of the stereotypes that come with labels. And, like, certain labels come with certain stereotypes that are more harmful on you than, like, the reward of getting to know, like, to know what the words to describe you are.
And labels definitely come with stereotypes. So, like, if you grow up in a house that's like, don't be gay, and then you're like, fuck, I'm gay, then you're like, that means that I'm a bad person and whatnot, you know?
I think that a lot of people say that labels are really bad, and I can see where they're coming from, but I think that what they're saying is that the stereotypes that come with labels are really bad, and I think that just labels alone have a lot of power. So, like, and good power for me. Labels give you a way to tell other people who you are instead of them just assuming.
Right.
So, like, if you don't tell someone, this is who I am, this is what I identify as, this is who I am, then they kind of just assume that what you are and who you are.
Right.
And if they just see you and hear your voice and stuff like that, they'll be like, oh yeah, hey girl. And then you're like, yeah, I'm not a girl. Actually, this is what I am. Then it's a lot easier if they're open-minded to just be like, oh, okay, well, thanks for telling me who you are so that I can not be disrespectful and not assume.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the power in labels, but the stereotypes that come with labels are definitely the number one.
I agree.
Con.
I agree.
So, obviously we've talked about a lot of, like, LGBTQ, like, labels and stereotypes, but can you give me some examples of other stereotypes outside of that?
Well, as we spoke about earlier, there's a stereotype that black people can't swim.
I can swim better than a lot of people.
Probably better than me, because I can't swim. So there's that.
I think
that blonde people are stupid.
I have a very smart blonde friend. One singular.
Sticky?
Yeah, Sticky.
Yeah.
She's really smart.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is the thing for me. I think stereotypes are the stupidest thing to ever be created because you can't say that one whole group that you've not even met everyone of, they're all one thing, like they all have one characteristic or all do the same thing or have the same trait, because one, you've not met all of them, and two, there's no freaking way that all of those people can have that one trait. So, like, you can't say all black people like chicken, all white people are basic, all Muslims are terrorists. If someone's like, oh, I'm black, they obviously don't have to tell you that, but you can't take that they obviously like watermelon from that. Only thing you can take from that is that they're black.
Mm-hmm.
If someone said, if you meet a bunch of gay people, you can't say all gay people are flamboyant because, one, you've not met all gay people, and all gay people, the only thing that they are is gay. So,
I've met some extremely masculine gay people. Not at all. Like, you never guess it.
I don't think they're gay.
You're right. You got me there. They're probably just lying
They're just
about it.
looking for attention.
Yeah, that's it. It's gotta be it.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite question that you get regarding who you are and like your labels and stuff like that?
My least favorite? Give me a second. Like, are getting surgery. And I was like, I don't fucking know. I'm like 12. Leave me alone. And then it was, what's your sexuality? And again, I was like, I'm still 12. Do I have to decide everything right now? Like,
I'd be like, at what point in your life did you realize you were straight? Exactly.
right. That's what I thought.
How do you self-label yourself?
Bailey Snapchatted you.
Oh. How do you label yourself?
Gay. But I'm not.
You're not gay?
Well, okay. I'm FTM and I was in a relationship with a dude, so it was like, I'm gay. But now I'm not, and I think I like girls, so I'm just doing whatever I want.
Okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Chill, dude.
Uh-huh.
Are there any questions you want to ask me?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Interviewer becomes interviewee.
How has stereotypes affected you, especially, like, recently, I would say? As in
Well,
high
stereotypes
school.
have, like, affected me in a lot of ways recently and throughout, like, my whole life. Because, one, I'm black.
You are.
2, I'm trans.
You
And
are.
3, I'm queer. So I'm, like, all the things at once, which is really bad discrimination-wise. But, like, so, like, what type of stereotypes? Gender, sexuality. Gender-wise, the stereotypes haven't really affected me yet for like, the transness. Because no one really knows.
Yeah.
Sexuality. I think people are shocked when I tell them because I'm not stereotypically gay or not gay, queer.
Mm-hmm.
Not stereotypically queer. And I get asked a lot of questions like, is it queer bad? And is it queer like a bad word? Like, aren't you like not allowed to use that word? And like, some people have called me a faggot.
Same.
With race, people have told me that I act white.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a stereotype. They'll tell me I act white because of the music I listen to and the people I hang out with and the way I dress. And they'll say that I don't really know anything about black culture because I'm so white.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, oh, like I've heard people say, oh, black people are ghetto. And I'm like, I'm not ghetto. And they're like, well, yeah, that's because you're white. And
Right.
I'm like,
What does that mean?
not really.
Let's compare. I'm white.
I'm not.
Now that we have that figured out,
Yeah.
wait, I have an add-on question now since you just said that.
Oh, okay.
Do you think stereotypes lead to, like, discrimination?
Well, yeah, because racist people,
Right.
like, they think, like, they're racist because of the stereotypes in their mind about what a certain race acts like and is like, and they're like, oh, yeah, black people are bad. They're all bad because, like, that's a stereotype that black people are all bad. That's discrimination. Discrimination is saying that one group is all something because of some reason, and that, like,
Yeah.
and, like, doing something against them because of it. So, yeah, I think the stereotypes can lead to discrimination and are discrimination in a way.
I feel that.
I think that, like, saying a stereotype, some stereotypes saying them, is, like, discriminating against some people, I guess. I guess saying, like, all black people like chicken, I don't know if that's a discrimination.
But, like, bigger picture.
Yeah, like, all Muslims are terrorists. That's a stereotype, and then, like, banning a bunch of countries of people
That would be
because of their
discrimination.
religion and because they think they're all terrorists. That's discrimination because of a stereotype. So, yeah, I think that it can lead to discrimination. I think labels have helped me a lot. I kind of already knew what I was looking for when I started searching, like, the labels. And so I could just, like, pick out the definitions of them. of what I already had like thought of,
Right.
and then be like, oh, so that's the word for it.
Yeah.
I wasn't just like sifting through definitions and words and being like, oh, am I this? Am I that?
You already
Let me
knew.
think about it.
You
Already
just
kinda
confirmed
already
it with a
knew,
word.
yeah.
You figured out it was a thing.
Yeah.
Through the label. So would
Yeah.
you say it's a good thing in that way?
Yeah, because like I said, a lot of people just assume who I was, and it's given me a lot of power to tell them, and it's given me a lot of confidence, I guess, like within the last 2 years, to be able to be like, no, you're wrong. This is who I actually am, and these are my labels. Please respect them, and if you don't, that's
Fuck off.
That's your right, but I don't agree with it, and you can like get out of my life. Basically.
Yeah.
My mom doesn't like labels at all. Like she hates labels. So it was kind of hard to explain why I was using so many of them. Plus, I'm already black, and she was like really worried about the fact that I was adding more like labels that get discriminated against to the fact that I'm already black. I can't choose that I'm black, but she felt like I could choose with
If
my
you're
other
gay.
labels.
Yeah.
Like she knew I couldn't choose if I was gay, but she knew I could choose whether or not to say it, and so she was kind of hesitant about me like coming out to people and stuff, because she knew that was just gonna add on to like the discrimination against blacks. I feel like this just turned into a trans video.
I know.
But that's what like we're talking about. So